Concession and compromise has been the name of the game for Chinese-sourced vehicles for the past few decades. I mean, but recently, that's been changing a lot. What's going on, guys? Roy Robles here from Zigwheels.Ph, and today we'll be reviewing this one right here, a 7-seater compact crossover SUV, the Jetour X70 Plus. Now, I so wanted to hate this vehicle, to be honest. When I first saw the Jetour X70 Plus, I thought that's too much chrome, especially for a vehicle. But look at this. But upon closer inspection and driving it for the past week, I think it's really growing on me. I'm still quite at odds with how the headlamps are shaped. It looks like an angry headlamp right here, but doesn't look as rugged enough to be put in a crossover SUV. You got this chrome strip that runs across the top of the hood. Then you got this aggressive looking octagonal grille right here with more chrome, and even more chrome right here on the sides. But again, in this particular colorway, it seems to match real nicely. You got the Jetour badge right on top, and I love how the hood is actually flush right here on the front panel. The reason behind that is that the hood actually opens up quite nicely from the inside, smoothly as well, with a single strut bar. That's right, you got a single strut tower right here under the hood instead of having a latch right here. You need to have this flush for safety reasons. You don't want this flying out, especially when you're in the highway. But anyway, that looks nice, especially in this one. It gives it a clean look overall. You got halogen headlamps. That's right, guys. Halogen headlamps, projector headlamps at least, but you got DRLs. The DRLs are not right here. They're here at the bottom where the fog lamp should be. The turn signals are sequential both front and in the back. This thing doesn't actually have fog lamps to start with, but at least it's nice and low, so at least it can light up the way in front of you. Again, the overall look of the Jetour X70 Plus kind of gives you these mixed feelings actually, but again, it's really gonna grow on you, especially if you drive it to see it in the metal. Now, you can't really imagine or determine the size of the Jetour X70 Plus without imagining this. Those are actually 20-inch alloy wheels. That's right, 20-inch alloy wheels in this crossover SUV. And with that, you know exactly how high this is. For example, you got my height right here. A lot of people have been saying that if I put myself beside another mid-size crossover SUV or even a mid-size SUV, it looks like a toy car. But here, this looks normal because it is huge. But I like the overall design of the X70 Plus, especially from this particular vantage point. So you got 4 disc brakes all around, another chrome trim right here at the side skirts. Well, if you're gonna go all out with chrome, might as well put it on the side profile. But here again, it works. Somehow with this particular color scheme, it definitely works out great. You got 210 millimeters of ground clearance to work with, so this is a proper crossover SUV. And again, black plastic claddings, which lets you know that it is a crossover. I like how that it has smart key access, so all you gotta do is bring your key with you and you'll be able to open the door at least. And you got a nice trim right here again, reminding everyone that you're bringing a Jetour with some honeycomb inserts there that go nowhere. You got 360-degree cameras right there on the turn signals. These ones are repeater signals, and nice. I love how this is pretty much built. It gives you pretty much a perception, a scope of exactly what the scale you're working with. This might be a compact crossover SUV, but in its class, it might be one of the biggest. All right, so heading over to the back of the Jetour X70 Plus, you really see a lot of the aggressive design features that Jetour is trying to implement right here, especially in this crossover SUV. I mean, you got sharp lines, this nice aggressive light bar that runs across the rear of the vehicle. You got the Jetour badge right there behind a piano black insert. Now, you don't see any chrome here in the back at all, which is nice. You do have it in these quad port exhausts. Yes, you got quad port exhausts. Just kidding, those are not real exhausts. They go nowhere. The real exhaust is right under there. Don't mind the tow hitch. This is actually just an accessory that people can put in the Jetour X70 Plus. You can put it in a bike rack. You can tow your boat if you got a boat. What is nice about this though is it's got a power tailgate. The power tailgate feature definitely adds a lot of functionality and usability right here, especially if you're bringing a lot of stuff. And you got a low loading height. I mean, for a big SUV, I appreciated that they actually put in a low loading height. So if you have some bigger items, heavier items, imagine you can just put it right there and slide it right in. If you need even more space here, you can actually fold these rear seats down. This is a 7-seater after all. Oops, something's in the way. And if you need even more space, you can fold these third row seats down. And check this out. You can definitely fit in a lot of your stuff here. You got luggage, you got groceries, you got a horse, you got a cow, you got your chicken, your dog, your cat, your mom, your dad. You can put them all in there, in the back. The Jetour X70 Plus really has a lot of space, usable space in fact. And the overall exterior look of the X70 Plus really grows on you. I mean, looking at it on paper, pictures online, really doesn't do this thing justice. I just have some problems with those quad port exhausts. So let's take a look at the inside and see what's what. All right, so you got a lot of interesting bits and features inside the Jetour X70 Plus. For example, you got these huge touchscreen infotainment system that kind of blends in with the digital gauge cluster here. Unfortunately, this system does not have Apple CarPlay, nor does it have Android Auto, but you do get Carbit Link, where you can actually mirror your Android phone as long as you install the right app and have a USB port, install it right there. That's fine, but I would have preferred if it had Android Auto and Apple CarPlay. It makes things a lot easier. The digital gauge cluster is nice and readable. One quirk that I have with it though is that the speedometer is on the left side. I'm more used to finding the speedometer right here on the right and the tachometer on the left, but that's just me. But sometimes if I look down and checking out my speed, I look at the wrong way, and that's just where it is. It takes a little getting used to. You got soft touch materials everywhere, which is nice. Even though Jetour is more of an entry-level car brand, they do offer these soft touch materials, which might be a dig against those more established brands out there. Maybe you might want to add this to your own cars. I mean, Jetour can, why can't you, right? You get 3 AC vents right here at the middle side of the dashboard, which you Total Recall fans might actually find that interesting. And you got a soft touch for the AC controls. I mean, I understand that some companies would prefer putting these types of capacitive buttons for the AC and for pretty much everything else. But what I do appreciate though is that it's got a volume knob. That's right, right below the shifter. We'll get back to the shifter later on. You got some buttons here to control your volume. You can actually select what kind of where the audio source will be coming from, and you can actually use that to control the touchscreen, so you don't have to touch the touchscreen, which is nice. The steering wheel is nice and chunky. It's got a D shape to it. The Jetour logo there. You got your cruise control buttons on the right and your volume and call buttons on the left. It is adjustable for both reach and rake. All right. So achieving your proper driving position, it would be easier than most cars. Now, I was looking for the seat adjustment buttons here on the actual seat, but I actually found them right here on the door cards. That's the seat, that's not me. Trust me, that's the seat. It doesn't have a memory function though. I would think that these 2 buttons right here next to it would be for the memory function, as well as these ones right here, but you don't have that on the seats. You got nice leather material here on the outboard armrest, as well as the centerboard armrest, which splits open, giving access to this huge cooled cubby hole. So if you want to put something cold in there, you can. Just make sure it's secure, nice and secure. You got a nice cubby hole here as well. Should I say it? Yeah, go ahead. But unfortunately, some other reviewer must have had a really good time with this panel right here, because doesn't want to close anymore. Inside there, you got 2 USB ports, a 12-volt power socket, and what seems to be a wireless charging pad, but no, it does not charge your phone wirelessly. It would be a great opportunity for Jetour to put a wireless charging pad there, but it is what it is. You don't need it because you don't have wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. You can use those to charge your phone though, these 2 USB ports. All right, the shifter is a nice pod looking shifter here. It is shift by wire, so it doesn't actually go to a particular driving mode here. Yeah, so you just push and pull, go to manual, that's it. You got a parking, if you want to park the vehicle, just the P button is right here on a different island by itself, separate from the actual shifter. You got an electronic parking brake, automatic brake hold and hill descent control, and your hazard button is there as well. Easy to reach. I love how minimalist the design is on the dashboard, and you got most of your control buttons right here on your easy to reach for your right hand, so it adds a little bit of ergonomics inside the car. I love this particular button here. It's pretty much a toggle switch to select between different drive modes. You got sport and eco, and push up you can actually access your 360-degree camera. The 360-degree camera is actually kind of doesn't have a good resolution to it, but I appreciate that it's there. It gives you a quick estimation of where your car is in space. One quirky thing that I love about the Jetour X70 Plus is the on the vanity mirror. See, if you open the vanity mirror, you got a vanity light right there, kind of soft. It has a little bit of message from Jetour right here, and it says, all right, so it's just a little message that I find interesting. I would have preferred if they localized that particular part and maybe gave us a proper LED, but that's fine. All right, you got a huge panoramic sunroof on top, but these days, what top-of-the-line crossover SUV doesn't have that? I mean, if you don't have at least a partial moonroof, you're pretty much wasting everyone's time. Everyone's looking for a sunroof now. Overall, in a nutshell, the design of the Jetour X70 Plus when it comes to the cockpit is interesting. It's neat. It's ergonomic. Has a little bit few quirks here and there, but this is definitely something that's very livable. But let me take a look at the second row seats and see what's in store for the passenger here. All right here in the second row seats, this is where you begin to appreciate what these types of vehicles are for. They're more than a driver's car. This is actually a great family car because you got lots of space inside. You got a fairly flat floor right here, so fitting 3 of me is definitely doable because there's lots of space inside. You don't get a center armrest here though, but personally speaking, if you're in the market for these types of vehicles, 7-seater crossover SUVs, having a center armrest is it's not something that they prioritize, but without it, you can actually have more comfort there. Trust me, it's more comfortable having, without having the center armrest. Right, you got a nice cubby hole right here, right underneath these 2 AC vents, which pump out really cool air, by the way. 2 USB-A ports, and behold the glory of quilted leather floor mats. Kind of little S&M to me with with the black leather. You got, again, the panoramic sunroof adds a lot of light in. The door card seems to be a little bit high. I'm 5'10.5", and I'm still complaining that it's pretty high. I would have preferred if you had a nicer and a bigger view of the road as you go out, but it's fine. I guess this is how you relax in here. You get ambient lighting, by the way, inside, which reaches all the way here to the back, and it's pretty comfortable. That's right. The seats are adjustable. If you want to recline them, you can actually do so, or if you want to sit upright. If you're a military kid, you can do this, but if you want to lounge back like a hippie, there you go. That's fine. And you got your lights right here, because even though you have a panoramic sunroof, you got to have that. That's nice to have. You got these hooks. A lot of people buy these aftermarket hooks to put in the back seat, backrest, and you got it right here. Each can carry 3 kilograms. Absolutely perfect. All right, overall, I could definitely live inside here. Let's do a quick third row test, because I know you guys want to see me torture myself. Let's go and test that out. So to get into the rear seats, the third row seats, you need to align the seats a little bit upright like here, slide the seat forward, then move it a little back here, and then still barely have any space to get in, but then close this down. See, I'm squatting. Yeah. And I can't slide these seats forward. So I have to ask someone to slide the seats back for me, because I can't control it from the back. To be honest, this is probably quite a usable space, but my feet are actually right under the cushion already. I do have some nice knee room. You do have speakers and cup holders. This is not good for me. But when it comes to space, headroom, it's good. Knee room is good as well. But again, I don't have to keep myself static like this though. I would rather be driving the car, be in the second row seats, and we'll leave this to kids or people who are smaller in stature than my 5'10.5". But that's enough. This is probably a pass. Don't get me wrong, this is a pass, but it's not for me. Let's go ahead and take this out for a spin and see how this drives. All right, so we're behind the wheel of the Jetour X70 Plus. Plus stands for plus seating, I guess. But this it's definitely something that's probably inspired by iPhone nomenclature. Anyway, under the hood, you've got a 1.5 liter turbocharged gasoline engine that makes 156 horsepower and 230 newton meters of torque, powering the front wheels. Now, but again, numbers don't really mean anything unless a company knows how to put that power down to the front wheels. And it does, thanks to a 6-speed dual clutch transmission. The usual dual clutches would be around 7, but for some reason, Jetour stuck with 6. And it's fine, especially in city traffic. Now, there are 2 drive modes. You've got Sport and Eco. No normal here, just Sport and Eco. If you put it on Sport for some reason, you madman you, in city traffic, you'd feel the herky-jerkiness of the entire drivetrain, basically. So it'd be like driving a car with someone who's a first-time driver. So that's how it's gonna feel like. But set it back to Eco mode, everything straightened itself out. But it still would have that usual DCT or dual clutch transmission jerkiness. But it's fine. It's definitely fine. Something that you can definitely live with. What I can't live with, or I think you probably criticize the engine, would be its roughness, basically on idle. It actually feels like a 3-cylinder, especially when you're in idle for some reason. But again, once you're rolling, you definitely won't be feeling that. A few impressions about this engine is that, especially when you're put on sport mode, it does put the power down, and I appreciate that, especially in highway traffic. In the highway, you can feel the speed, you can feel its quickness. It really is quick on its feet, and that is something that's really characteristic of 1.5 liter turbos, especially with crossovers nowadays. And there's really nothing special about it. What I do appreciate about the whole setup, though, is the suspension. You got McPherson struts up front. You got a multi-link independent suspension in the rear, which makes things a little comfortable. Actually, it's very nice to be inside the X70 Plus, especially in the rear. I tried it out while I was driving, while I was sitting back in the second row seats. Don't let me sit in the third row seats, please. But while in the second row, it was pretty comfortable back there. You see all the space when we were showing you guys the rear interior space. It was pretty comfortable. I mean, thanks to the lack of a center armrest, being in the middle seat, you won't have any problems. Plus, you can actually recline it. It's one of the more comfortable crossover SUVs in the market right now. Fuel economy is decent. Around the city, heavy traffic, it nets around 8 to 9 kilometers per liter. That's actually amazing, especially when you consider that this is a 7-seater compact crossover SUV. Some people may call it a subcompact crossover, but no, this definitely is not. With the size, with the height of this thing, this definitely can't compete with a lot of the compacts in the market these days. We'll talk about that later on. And fuel economy on the highway, forget about it. 14 to 15 kilometers, which is decent in this class. Safety features in the Jetour X70 Plus, pretty much standard. You don't get advanced driver assist systems, but weirdly enough, you do have lane keep assist for collision mitigation system. You also get a 360-degree camera. You got parking sensors. It's pretty complete. It's pretty comprehensive, but you don't get you don't get the adaptive cruise control, which is something that I actually miss. Being a great highway cruiser, probably could work better if it had adaptive cruise control. Pricing for the Jetour X70 Plus starts at 1,599,000 pesos, and at that price point, you might be considering other options such as, of course, the most obvious one would be the Ford Territory. You also got the Hyundai Tucson. You got that one as well, pretty much similar in size and all that. And if you even want to go upscale, you can go for the Toyota RAV4, the Honda CR-V, and even the GAC M Coupe. But one thing that this has over those models, though, except for the CR-V, those are all 5-seaters. This is a 7-seater SUV. Sure, some people might say the third row seats would be relegated to kids or shorter people, but you still have the option, and that's something that you got to consider. I mean, with everything that you have in the Jetour X70 Plus Pro Max, it's simply something that not a lot of cars in its same price point can offer. And that's something that you can appreciate, really. So that's our review of the Jetour X70 Plus. It's a compact crossover SUV that's big in size, big in interior space, and big in performance. But I want to know what you think. Drop me a comment in the comment section down below. But while you're at it, subscribe to our channel and hit that notification icon so you wouldn't miss any of our videos. Thanks so much for watching. This is Roy Robles from Zigwheels.Ph. I will see you guys next time.